Okay, so I'm getting ready for wet finishing now. And in fact, I have already changed my mind on some of the decisions I made when I was cutting the fabric off the loom. The reason I've got it stretched out on the floor is to measure it. It's going to be really important for me to measure the length. And in fact, this is what I should have done in the sampling process so I could correctly calculate for shrinkage of my warp yarn. I'm going to measure the length. I'm going to measure the width at the finishing end and the beginning end, and probably somewhere in the middle. This is a crucial step. I'm going to write these numbers down. I swear I'm going to write them down because I know I will not remember them unless I do. And finally, I'm also going to trim off the long ends. This is the part I decided against. If you're going to do a twisted fringe on hand woven fabric, you should go ahead and twist the fringe before you wet finish. That way, everything that's happening to the rest of the fabric is also happening to the fringe, and you don't want to end up with unexpected surprises. So, what is likely to happen if I put this in with very long warp ends sticking out here is they're just going to all felt together, and I would never be able to get them apart for a twisted fringe. So, I'm in fact going to trim them off um, maybe 2-3 inches past my hem stitching on that end. And then on this end, I went and tied knots, just simple overhand knots, right where the header began, so that again, I had some kind of weft protection going on. And I'm going to trim those off to 3 inches. Finally, all these long ends that you can see on the fabric. Sorry, adjusting the camera here. Remember, I really need a producer. Um, so this really long end of weft yarn that's sticking out, I'm going to trim that down to maybe an inch. And these parts, these are actually broken selvages, warp ends that broke during my weaving process. Again, I'm going to trim them down to about an inch, maybe 2 inches at the most. And I'm going to do that all along the length of this fabric so that I don't have ends longer than 4 inches, whether they're warp or weft, sticking out all over the place, because those in the dryer will wrap around the fabric and create problems. So what I don't want are lots of loose, floaty ends hanging around before I stick this into a dishpan full of cool, not hot, not cold, but cool water with just a tiny bit of wool wash and let it soak for an hour.